Hello everyone, this is Professor Reimer. This video is for my world history class on Monday, October 13th and Tuesday. No, we had Monday off. I'm coming to you from Indigenous Peoples Day. Pardon me, this video is for Tuesday, October 13th and Wednesday, October 14th. It's entitled Classical China. Our objective, as it has been all unit, is to explain the major effects of the development of the classical civilization of China by responding to a prompt. But before we dive into that, let's get our brains warmed up with a preview activity. For this preview activity, I want you to turn to the textbook, the online textbook, to Chapter 6, Lesson 2. And there's about a 5-minute video about the first emperor of China found there. And I'd like you to either watch it on your own if you're seeing this video by yourself, or if you're with me in our virtual meeting, we'll pause the video and go watch the film together. And I want you to focus on comparing the rise of the Qin Empire with the rise of the Roman Empire, which happened roughly at the same time. So we have studied the Roman Empire, and now we're finishing up the unit with the Qin Empire. I want you to note some similarities about the rise. So one of the, before we go on, one of the major skills we've been working on this unit is causation, or cause and effect. So our process and activities all unit have been about effects, or what happened because of an event. But here, let's focus on the causes part of that skill. So what led to something happening? In this case, empires. Now, empires are something that this unit has focused a lot on, but I don't know if we properly define them. They are a large political unit governed by one person and comprised of lots of different kinds of people, right? Lots of different ethnic groups and religions, and not just a small, homogenous group. Okay, so pause the video and watch that video. All right, I hope we made some great comparisons in the chat. Before we move to classical China, I do want to do a bit of review about classical India, and let's focus on the theme of economic systems by turning over to Chapter 5, Lesson 3, Page 3 in our textbook. So let me navigate over here, and here again, as always, in the center, our navigation tool, India's First Empire. What did I say? Chapter 5, Lesson 3, Page 3. Lesson 3, we're gonna go scroll down here, page 3. Now, widen this a bit. So why did I choose to put this in my notes? Well, we've talked all unit about how things that are highlighted or bolded are important and should be in our notes, but also we've talked about how the introductions to chapters can be great sources of clues. Now, in the video for this chapter, it talked a lot about trade and how trade played a key role in the development of classical India. And here we are, a key term about trade. So that's why I definitely wanted to have it in my notes. So these are what my notes looked like. Got wealthy from trade going between China and Rome. Remember, in this theme, economic systems, we're not just looking about the goods and services that are inside whatever it is we're studying, but we're also looking at systems, the structure, sometimes in which the civilization is a part of. In this case, classical India was a part of a much larger structure or system of trading that developed in the classical period. So this trading happened both overland in what became known as the Silk Road, so named because a lot of silk was traded upon it. Silk made in China. It passed through the lands of India on its way to Rome. However, it wasn't just land routes that developed in classical times in India. Sea routes also developed in the Indian Ocean, connecting the Mediterranean with Western India. Why doesn't it have a fancy name? Historians are not good at coming up with names. I guess we're going to have to leave it to John Oliver and his videos on world history. He referred to them as the sexy sea lanes of South Asia, among others. So if that helps you remember trade routes by sea, um, go ahead and adopt it. I kind of like it as well. So that was our review of classical India. Now let's turn to classical China. We are getting sick again for the last time. This is our last civilization of this unit. Remember, you're looking for characteristics on each of the themes that classical China had. Remember, these themes are buckets. They are our hooks upon which we can hang information so that we can also use that information in developing arguments instead of just, if we're asked to compare or if we're asking to look at effects and we're just looking at this blob of information and we say, I don't know where to begin. This is where you begin. You can analyze information if you break it down into categories. Here are the categories we're using in class: governance, economic systems, technology and innovation, social interactions and organization, the interaction between humans and the environment, and cultural development and interactions. So with that, let's now turn to chapter 6, and I want you to skim it on your own, make observations about the structure and content of the chapter, and then we'll come together in the chat to hear your observations. I also want you to put them in your own Get Sick chart. You should be making notes as you read this chapter. So let's do that now. All right, together, what I want to do is model again for you how to be an effective reader of information. In this case, we're reading a textbook, and particularly chapter 6, cultural development and interactions in classical China. So again, let's turn over to the textbook, and I want to model again how to read and take notes. Remember, I've said before, you want to be reading chunks of text, generally a section or so, and then stopping to jot and make notes. So let's turn over to chapter 6. All right, we've already skimmed it. We're ready to go. Here we are in lesson 1. It matters because between 500 BC and 200 BC, toward the end of the Zhou dynasty, 3 major schools of thought about the nature of human beings and the universe emerged in China: Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism. Although Hindus and Buddhists focused on freeing the human soul from the cycle of rebirth, Chinese philosophers were more concerned about the material world and creating a stable society. So here it is. It's in lesson 1. It's in the introduction. There are 3 main schools of thought. This what makes a society unique, what makes a place unique, is culture. So this definitely is going to go in our culture theme. Let's read and find out about Confucianism and what were the basic tenets of Confucianism. And let me pause here and say these guiding questions, they're very helpful to help you make notes, because a lot of times students put in their notes information that's kind of meaningless because it's not the basic tenets of something. For example, if you look at just the definition down here of Confucianism, the system of political and ethical ideas formulated by the Chinese philosopher Confucius toward the end of the Zhou dynasty. Nothing in there tells us what is Confucianism. It's just giving us a very broad, generic definition. That's not going to be helpful in our notes. It was intended to help restore order for a society that was in a state of confusion. That's a little bit more helpful. It tells us why it developed, but it doesn't tell us what it is. So this guiding question, what were the basic tenets of Confucianism? That's really what needs to go in your notes. So let's see if we can find that. And again, I'm going to shorten this for the sake of our video. We're looking for the basic tenets. This is context in the first paragraph, context in the second paragraph, context in the third paragraph, more context in the fourth paragraph. We go over here. Here we are. Two central ideas stand out in the Confucian view of the Tao, the way: duty and humanity. So here's our answer to that guiding question. The basic tenets of Confucianism, here it is. This is what needs to get in our notes. Let's read and take notes together. The concept of duty meant that people had to subordinate their own interests to the broader needs of the family and the community. Everyone should be governed by the 5 constant relationships: parent and child, husband and wife, older sibling and younger sibling, older friend and younger friend, and ruler and subject. Each person had a duty to the other. Parents should be loving, and children should revere their parents. Husbands should fulfill their duties, and wives should be obedient. Excuse me. The elder sibling should be kind, and the younger sibling respectful. The older friend should be considerate, and the younger friend deferential. Rulers should be benevolent and subject loyal. Showing the importance of family, Confucius said, "The duty of children to their parents is the fountains whence all other virtues spring." The Confucian concept of duty was often expressed in the form of a work ethic. If each individual worked hard to fulfill his or her duties, then the affairs of society as a whole would prosper as well. So that's a really long paragraph. Let's stop and make notes. So we have over here cultural development, Confucianism, right? Sought to restore order, right? That was from that key definition. Now we want to put some descriptions back over here. Central idea of duty, especially to one's parents. Got that here. And from the paragraph, especially in that very the second sentence, the concept of duty meant people had to subordinate their own interests to the broader needs of the family and the community. In our own words, we want to say, put, especially one's parents, emphasized putting others before self. Can't spell today. Emphasize with a P. All right. We're looking for other tenets. Let's go back to our chapter. No. Where's that second? We need that second. There it is. Second key element of the Confucian view of the Tao is humanity, compassion, and empathy for others. Confucius said, "What you do not wish done to yourself, do not do to others." You heard that before? Sure sounds like the golden rule. Confucius urged people to measure the feelings of others by one's own, for within the four seas, all men are brothers. After his death in 479 BC, his message spread widely throughout China. Confucius was a harsh critic of his own times. He stressed a return to the values of the golden age of the early Zhou dynasty. Confucius saw it as an age of perfection. When the Great Way was practiced, the world was shared by all alike. Confucius, however, was not just living in the past. Many of his key ideas looked forward. Remember, we're looking for influences. Perhaps his most influential political idea, here we go, influences, was that government service should be open to all men of superior talent and not limited to those of noble birth. This concept of rule by merit was not popular with the aristocrats who held political offices based on their noble birth. Although Confucius' ideas did not have much effect in his lifetime, they eventually became the guiding principles for the Chinese empire and fundamental ideas of Eastern civilization. Oh my gosh, that is important. That's why we're putting it in our notes. So, second idea was compassion for others. What else? Oh yeah, government service open to people of merit. Formed foundation. What was it? Formed foundation of something important. What was it? Guiding principles of the Chinese empire and fundamental ideas of Eastern civilization. Yikes. Of Eastern. Did they say civilization? Yeah, Eastern civilization. All right, that's just a few notes here on Confucianism. Remember, they said there were 2 other philosophies. You're going to want to get those in your notes as well. All right, 2-hour processing activity is the same one as before. 1 sentence. Stop giving me more than 1 sentence. 1 sentence. What were the major effects and lasting influences of classical China? And I want no more than 3. Stop telling me as many as you can list. No more than 3. I want you to actually choose and make an argument. So do that now. I'll see you in class.